All right, so you guys should have watched this video already, plus you had like double the amount of time since I extended it anyway, since we were supposed to do this on Friday. Guys. So this beginning part, you're just finding the slope. That is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Y'all need me to do one of those? Y'all got that. This is algebra 1 again. Okay, I'll do one. Slope formula. Now, I always make this first one x2, y2, and the second one x1, y1. You don't have to do that. You can make the first one x1, y1, and the second one x2, y2. I just do it that way because the formula puts the 2's first, so it's easier for me to read left to right rather than right to left. You don't have to. You can do it that way. As long as both ones are in one point. Like you can't make a point x1, y2. That's what you don't want to do. But as long as you put both ones in a point and both 2's in a point, it doesn't matter which point you make x1, y1 and which one you make x2, y2. So my y2 is 4 minus my y1 is 2. My x2 is -4 minus my x1 is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. -4 minus 0 is -4. And what goes into both 2 and 4? 2. So this slope is -0.5. You do need to remember 0 and undefined slopes. So I'll put it up here. If you end up with 0 over a number, that is number, not hashtag. Okay, number. So if 0 is on top, fractions are always written as what you have over what exists. It is possible for you not to have something that does exist. Think of like a Lamborghini. I highly doubt any of y'all have one, yet they do exist. So this can happen. And if you do have a Lamborghini, you need to let me ride that, like drive that thing, like for real. But otherwise, 0 on top is like a Lamborghini situation. It can happen, you just don't have one. So this slope is 0. But if you have a number and a 0 on the denominator, that means that you have something that doesn't exist. And that's not possible. It's kind of like unicorns. You can't say that you have one when they don't actually exist. I'm not talking about stuffed animals, talking about real ones. So that can't happen. This is the undefined slope. So that's how you know the difference between the two. 0 on top is okay because it's possible not to have something that exists. However, 0 in the denominator does not work because it is not possible to have something that does not exist. All right. So then the next one, you're supposed to find slopes of lines on this graph. And now I've just made it go away because I zoomed in too much. What page did I say this was? 16? All right. Oh, it says 17. It's 16. My bad. No, you never do mixed fractions. You always do improper fractions. Like you would never write 1 1/2. It would be 3 over 2. Okay, do y'all need me to go over how to find slope from a graph? Rise over run. Yeah, and if it's going up, it's positive. It's going down, it's negative. Everybody remember that? Rise over run. Okay. This next part down here, you have to tell if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither, which means you have to find the slope of both lines. So I'll do one and y'all can do the other two. Parallel have to have the same slope. So remember, when we're talking about 0 and undefined slopes, if both slopes are 0, they are parallel. If both slopes are undefined, they are parallel. If one is 0 and one is undefined, that can happen. So a 0 slope looks like this, and undefined slopes looks like this, they're perpendicular if that happens. So just remember that about the 0 and undefined. That's possible. You can compare them and make and see if they're parallel or perpendicular, but 2 0 slopes are parallel, 2 undefined slopes are parallel. A 0 and an undefined together make it perpendicular because they will touch at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so this is my x2, y2, x1, y1, x2, y2, x1, y1. Remember, you could do that in reverse. You could do x1, y1, and then x2, y2 if you choose to. We're finding the slope of these two lines. There is the line KM, and then there is line ST. They have those points. Yes. Same slope would be parallel. Right. Yes. Huh? Yeah, opposite reciprocals. They have to have, no, the opposite reciprocal means they have different signs and the numbers are flipped upside down. So like, it goes over it in your notes. If you have a +2, the opposite reciprocal would be negative, right? Because of +2. But then whole numbers are always over 1. So 2 is 2 over 1. So the reciprocal, you flip it, it becomes 1 over 2. So the perpendicular to 2 is -1/2. All right, so plug this in. Y2 is -8 minus Y1 is 6. X2 is -1 minus X1 is 1. -8 minus 6 is -14. -1 minus 1 is -2. And -14 divided by -2 is a +7. So KM has a slope of 7. Then we have to do ST. Oh, you definitely should have done this in algebra. Y2 is -6 minus Y1, which is 10. X2 is -2 minus X1, which is 2. -6 minus 10 is -16. -2 minus 2 is -4. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. These have nothing to do with each other. They are neither. Same to be parallel or opposite reciprocals for perpendicular. I go over the perpendicular a lot more in depth in your notes, so watch them if you haven't. All right, then we got word problems, and then, oh, it just keeps going. Okay. Okay, so in this, it says the figure shows a map of a part of the city consisting of 2 pairs of parallel roads. If a coordinate grid is applied to the map, Ford Street would have a slope of -3. So that means this has a slope of -3. What would the slope of 6th Street be? No, the slope. It tells you the slope of Ford Street is -3 and that they are parallel. So what is the other one? It's not 3, -3. Then it tells you that those lines are perpendicular to the horizontal-ish streets, meaning that they are perpendicular lines. So what would these slopes be? Yes, very good. Because the originals are negative, these would be positive because that's the opposite part. So opposite means change the sign. And then reciprocal means that you flip it. So a +3 is the same thing as 3 over 1. So whenever you flip that, it becomes 1/3. All right. Ford Street is this one. All right, I'm gonna let y'all do the rest of those. So I just want to make sure y'all understood those. Oh, no, that is not all you do. You have to do A, B, C, and D. The intersection of B Street and Ford Street. B Street and Ford Street is 150 yards east of Ford and Clover. That doesn't even make sense. Oh, this way. I'm dumb. There we go. So it's 150. Wait, the intersection of B Street and Ford Street. Yeah, that's there. It's 150 yards to the intersection of Ford Street and Clover. But that's not even east.
So, and the dots are 150 yards.
Yeah, I'm more with him. I don't, we're gonna skip A. I don't like it. And you're not gonna have one like that on the test. So we're skipping A. You're not ready to drive yet. All right, on 10 and 11, it wants you to write the slope intercept form of these lines, but they give you a slope and a point, which means that you will put them in point slope form first, then convert them to slope intercept. See, this is why I put a notes video out for y'all to remember all of that. Oops, that should have been pink. All right, so the equation is y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. You plug them in. Y minus 6 is equal to -2, x minus a -4, which is plus. Then you distribute that slope. And then you will add or subtract whatever your y1 was. In this case, it's -6. So we're going to add that to both sides. So y equals -2x minus 2. That's how you do that. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. Yes, I gave you the slopes for everything. Oh, D? Yeah, skip that one too. I don't like D. You're not going to have one like it on a test, and it just sounds terribly confusing. Like, there's no point in making it that hard. Do y'all remember how to write an equation of a line from a graph? Remember, all you need is your slope, and you need your y-intercept, which is right here. And you put it into y equals m x plus b. So do y'all need me to do that one, or you think y'all got it? Yes, you find the slope, you find the intercept. That's it. All right. Remember that the answers are in Schoology for y'all to check them. These problems, you're either going to write another equation of a line parallel or perpendicular to the one given to you. But there are several ways. I'm going to do 15. Is there another parallel one? Ugh. I'm going to do 14 and 16. Okay, so we need to be able to use point slope form, which means that we need a point, which we're given right here, and a slope, but we're not given a slope, so we have to find the slope using these. Okay, So my slope my y2 is 1 minus a -3. My y2 is 4 minus 2. One plus 3 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that is our slope of the line that they originally gave to us, but we have to use the parallel slope, which is the same slope. So this is going to be our slope. For number 15, you would have to find the opposite reciprocal slope after you found it, because that one's a perpendicular. But I wanted to do one parallel and one perpendicular in both types. So that's why I did it this way. You have to write in point slope form first, then in slope intercept form. Point slope. Slope intercept is y equals mx plus b, because it's got the slope and the y-intercept, so I had slope intercept. And then point slope is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, because it gives you a point and the slope. Now, the number one way I will mess this up is you will not go back and use this point. You don't use the points of the original line. You use the new points that they gave you, or new point that they gave you. Remember, for 15, you will need to find the opposite reciprocal slope. You will not use the same slope, but this one is parallel, so it's the same slope. Y minus -1 or y plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 1. Distribute your slope first. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times -1 is -2. And then I need to move my y1 over. And right now it's a +1, so we subtract 1 from both sides. And this is your final answer. It is the line parallel to the line that goes through those 2 points at the end. And again, you can get all this written in Schoology. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 16, and this will be the last one that I do with you guys. So to do point slope form, you need a point, which we have, but we also need a slope, which is here, but it's not shown all pretty because right now it's in standard form, and we need it in slope intercept form so we know what that slope is. So we need to convert that equation to slope intercept form. So we need to move that x over to the other side first. Right now it's a positive 2x, so we subtract it from both sides. Do not forget that this is a negative y. That's the number one thing students will forget when they're doing this. If that y is negative, you'll forget to bring down the negative. Also, you can never combine an exponent and a constant. You cannot combine that 4 and that -2. One has a variable, one doesn't. So you just write them next to each other. -2x plus 4. And then, because this is what -y equals, we have to divide everything by -1, which really just means you're going to change the signs of everything. So my -y becomes a positive y, my -2 becomes a positive 2, and my +4 becomes a -4. And we did all of that just to get our slope. Because we're definitely not done yet. That was just to get the slope. Now, we need the perpendicular slope to that, which means we got to change its sign first. It's a +2, so it would be negative. And positive numbers are always over 1. So when you flip it, it's 1/2. All right, so we have our slope, we have our x1 and our y1. So now we can plug it into point slope form. It's not hard work. It's just like a lot of steps. Yeah. So y minus 6 is equal to -1/2 x minus 8. distribute that -1/2. You -1/2 times x is -1/2 x. -1/2 times the -8 is a +4. Then add 6 to both sides. All right, those are all the ones I'm doing for you. Make sure that you guys finish that practice all the way through. You can check your work in Schoology. Tomorrow, we will go over the review. I mean, y'all will do it and then come ask me questions. And then you guys will test Thursday. My others will test on Wednesday.